Hey ladies, today is Sunday, January 24th, 2021. 80 weeks postpartum. And that's actually kind of an important, not just because it's 80 weeks, which is crazy because I know no one counts weeks at this point. I feel like I'm like the only person who ever did that, but whatever. But the reason why I'm like marking this week in particular is because if you saw my last couple of videos, I was like, I don't want to say complaining, but I was wondering why I did not have a period yet and whether it was something wrong. And I am still breastfeeding even now. And I was debating whether I had to wean um, my daughter completely to see whether I would get a period because I have not had one. With a little asterisk there, I kind of did have one. I had one when I was 6 weeks postpartum, or what I thought was a period, because after you give birth, you bleed, especially if you give birth vaginally, which I did. You bleed quite a bit for several weeks, and I did bleed for like maybe 4 weeks, and then it stopped. And then at 6 weeks postpartum, it started like maybe 2 weeks after, I guess, giving birth, after the lochia, I believe as it's called, which is the bleeding after you give birth. I could be wrong about that since that's not really my expertise, but yeah. So after that stopped, I started bleeding again, and I assumed that was my period. It was weird though because it lasted for 10 days, which was longer than any period I had ever had, but it also was a very it wasn't a heavy bleed. It didn't seem like a period. It was just bleeding. And I contacted my gynecologist about it. She told me not to be concerned about it, um, and that it would likely, stop on its own, which it did. Like I said, it lasted 10 days and then it just stopped, and it was uneventful. I don't even think I had any cramps. It was just very uneventful. It was just, I'm bleeding oddly, and I didn't know if that was normal, and I assumed that was my period. And then I never got another one until this week. so so here I am, and I've been talking about where's my period. Is it delayed because I'm still breastfeeding? And I'm thinking about possibly trying to have another baby. And I went to a reproductive specialist who was acting as if something was wrong with me because I wasn't having a period yet, and was basically trying to run a bunch of tests and possibly do surgery to remove phantom blocks that she did not see, all because I didn't have a period. And I spoke to a lactation consultant who said it's very likely due to the fact that I am still breastfeeding. Although plenty of women who are continually breastfeeding do have periods. So finally, I did get a period, and I don't know what I did to trigger it. It may be because I did try to reduce the amount of times that Michaela was breastfeeding. She was breastfeeding 3 to 4 times a day. Now it's like 2, maybe 3, but like 2 times roughly is more likely. And that's only been maybe the past week and a half. And so I don't know if that was enough to trigger a period, or maybe it was just coming on its own anyway. And I just happened to coincidentally start wondering where it was, because quite frankly, I did not miss it. I do not like having a period. I don't know who does, what woman does, of course, but like, they're annoying. Some are worse than others. I can't say I have the worst one in the world. And since this was like a first, this came like a period. It seemed like a period, um, cramping and different heavy, light, medium days, things like that, where like that prior bleed that I was talking about didn't have any of that, didn't have the consistency that I was used to when I, had a period. So it was all really just weird. But I deemed that my first period because I wasn't sure what it was, and the doctor, I guess, didn't care enough, just said, hey, it's going to be fine. So, and so here we are. So now I have one. And I'm thinking to myself, why the heck did you want a period? Because periods suck. But I think I started to get scared that something was wrong because I let these medical professionals tell me that, oh, well, you don't have a period at this point. Something must be wrong and we have to figure it out and it's a mystery. And I'm like, well, it's not really a mystery. And now I do have a period, so mystery solved. But it really wasn't a mystery. Um, but anyway, like I said, I forgot how much I couldn't stand having a periods, and then I have a supply of stuff that I had before, like tampons and pads, but they weren't working for me this time. Like everything I was using was leaking. I'm not sure if this period was heavier. I know sometimes after people give birth, their periods are heavier, so I'm not sure if this was a heavier period than what I had prior to giving birth. But I was like, I don't even know what I felt. I felt almost like, wait, what do I do again? What do I need for protection? But I remember, I don't even know why I didn't go to this first, that I had transitioned before from using tampons and pads to using, just wanted to share quickly, soft cups. Now this box is open as you can see, but this is a box that I had prior to getting pregnant, and I never finished the box. This box contains 14 soft cups, and for those of you that are not familiar, they come in a little, well, open the box. This is what it looks like, and they come in a little package like this. I just opened this one so I can show you what they actually look like, but come in a little purple package like that, and this is the soft cup. When it comes out of that package, I actually am holding it upside down. This is the way it looks, and you actually can just fluff it up a little bit like that, and it's interesting because there are other companies. There's a company called Diva Cup. There are other brands that make something similar. They look a little different, but if you really look at it, the shape is pretty similar to this. And this plastic part is where blood collects, and this part is pretty flexible. So you squeeze it like this, you insert it. It would be this way. You insert it and then you let it go. It's actually, you have to insert it behind, I guess behind the pelvic bone in there. But listen, it's pretty self-explanatory, but they do have pretty detailed instructions on the box if you haven't tried them, you're ever interested. I transitioned to these and then I forgot all about them, so I'm so happy that I remember because these were working for me. These do up to 12 hours protection. It says, now of course is a caveat depending on how heavy your flow is. If you have a really heavy flow, then you may need to change it more often. The one that I'm showing you, is a disposable one. They do make some that are reusable, and quite frankly, I don't know what the difference between the reusable and the disposable are, because you can dump these, clean them out. Don't use soap. But you can, rinse them out, dry them with, toilet paper and all of that, or you can dry them out, and you can actually reuse them. And that is what you do if you buy the ones that are reusable. You basically just, clean them out, dump them out, and rinse them and reuse them. Again, the reason I'm saying don't use soap is because soap is not supposed to go internally. So you could end up with some sort of infection if you use soap and then try to insert that, especially if you don't get all of the soap off. You may think you have it off, but soap residue and all of that. So if you use a feminine soap like Honey Pot or Summer's Eve or any of those brands, that may work better than just using regular soap if you really feel that you want to use soap. But I've been using these, and then because I hadn't had a period for so long, I just totally forgot about these. And they're completely safe. They can't get stuck in you. To remove it, you kind of reach in and you hook your finger under this little pink rim, and you just pull it out. I will say that removal is messy. That's all I can say. Be warned if you do use it. Removal is messy, but what I do like about them, other than the fact that, they don't leak as much as some of the other things is that, similar to a tampon, you don't feel it. And if you do feel it, then it's not incorrectly. So if it's incorrectly, you won't feel it. And also on here, on the back of the box, they say a few things that, that it can be worn 12 hours, cannot be felt while wearing it, does not inhibit physical activity. So, like with a pad, you feel kind of like you can feel dirty and like you're wearing a diaper. And with a tampon, it might feel okay for a while, but you just feel these things. Tampons you also can't wear for that long because you can risk toxic shock syndrome. So there's that. Another thing on here, it says it can be worn during sex. So if that's something you're interested in, it can be worn overnight, eliminates menstrual odor, does not cause irritation or dryness, and is not linked to toxic shock syndrome. So that's some of the benefits of using soft cups. Like I said, whatever feels good to you, but when you have it in and it's incorrectly, you don't feel it. Very similar to a tampon, but it's better than a tampon because, I don't know, there's just like I used to always feel a little icky. I know it's kind of maybe an immature way to put it, but now, you feel like, other than the cramping and other symptoms that you may have, you don't feel like you're really wearing anything. And then until you take it out, and then you'll remember, oh yeah, because you're pulling out this bloody thing and blood may get on your hands, but it's fine. Wash it off. And if you're a woman and you have a period and you are used to blood being in annoying places, so and like I said, these are pretty economical because like you can actually reuse them. I wouldn't reuse them more than a few times, but you can. And this is one that's completely clean, just opened the package, brand new. But just wanted to show you these if people didn't know them. But like I said, there are other brands. One I can think of off the top of my head is Diva Cups. I've never used Diva Cups, but my understanding is they're very similar in methodology to soft cups, but their shape is a little different, but somewhat similar. But that's it. So it's bittersweet. I guess I'm happy that, I have a period now, and I think things are working fine, but I'm sad because I have a period now and periods suck. So anyway, all right, ladies. And to everyone who wrote messages of support, I appreciate it. Thanks for understanding and for watching and for listening, and I will talk to you soon.